Athletics, a way to escape. Cristiano Ronaldo, Conor McGregor, Serena Williams, Mike Tyson, LeBron James, and ancient Roman gladiators. What do these people have in common? Turns out, quite a lot. All of these people utilized sports as a way out of the socioeconomic class they were born into. Some made it bigger than others, but they all drastically improved their social status and well-being through athletics. Although the social class system in ancient Rome doesn't exist anymore, some of the most famous athletes today had rough, humble, impoverished beginnings. Gladiators, a lot of whom were born slaves or prisoners of war, were below the average citizen in Roman society. They were able to work their way not just out of slavery, but to become one of the most respected figures of their time, even gaining notoriety from the Roman emperor. Usually on the day of a gladiator show, you would see the emperor in his own section, surrounded by higher social elites. The crowd would be going crazy because the matchup has been hyped up for weeks, and they are finally witnessing it. General admission for these spectacles was typically free because Rome wanted to showcase its power and dominance over the rest of the world. Unfortunately, you won't find any free admission within professional sports today, but we do have spectacles of our own. One great example of this is when Mike Tyson was still fighting. When Mike Tyson would fight, everyone would watch. He was, is, and will always be a household name within the American pop culture. He is known as one of the greatest fighters ever, and he, along with gladiators from the Roman era, have gone down in history for their craft. Looking at the two, you come to realize that life is more similar to back then than we think. Obviously, the class system that existed within the Roman Empire does not exist anymore, but there are impoverished parts of our country still. Relative to present day and ancient Rome, it is the same concept when it comes to athletes trying to improve their lives and the lives of their families. One example from ancient Rome is the legend of Carpophorus. Carpophorus is one of the most famous arena fighters in the early Roman Empire. He was active during the reign of Domitian and became legendary for his performance against wild animals rather than fighting other gladiators. Most of what we know about him comes from the Roman poet Martial, who praised him in his work Liber de Spectaculus. Because Martial was writing to celebrate the emperor's games, historians think his depictions may be somewhat exaggerated, but they suggest Carpophorus was a genuine celebrity. By Roman standards, he was a superstar. Martial wrote about him much like modern sports writers write about elite athletes today. His name would have been recognized by many people who attended games in Rome, especially at the newly opened Colosseum. His career also illustrates how Roman games mixed entertainment, political spectacle, and displays of imperial power by showcasing exotic animals from across the empire. As humanists, we use ancient texts like Martial's Liber de Spectaculus, but we also study artifacts such as mosaics, gladiator helmets, weapons, inscriptions, and the Colosseum itself. These artifacts teach us things that written sources alone cannot. They show us what gladiators wore, the type of weapons they used, how the arena was designed, and how important these games were to Roman society. Artifacts also help historians verify the question of what ancient writers claimed. For example, if a poet exaggerated a gladiator's accomplishments, archaeologists can compare these stories with physical evidence to build a more accurate picture of the past. Together, ancient texts and artifacts allow us to better understand the lives of gladiators and why they became such an influential figures in Roman culture. From a social scientist's perspective, we can ask a different question. Why were these games so important? Gladiatorial games entertained the public, demonstrated Roman power, and created heroes that people admired. They also gave some gladiators the opportunity to earn wealth, fame, and even freedom. Today's sports continue to serve many of those same purposes. They unite communities, create celebrities, generate billions of dollars, and give talented athletes opportunities to escape poverty and change the future of their families' lives.